going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at a custom, nope, that's a lie. We're going to be taking a look at a production knife. A production knife from a maker named Jason Brous, who has enjoyed some popularity and a rise from someone who had made small batches of knives to someone who makes fairly large number of production knives now. This is his newest model, the Razorback. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. The specs. We have a 3-inch blade of D2 tool steel. The blade shape, he has it listed as spear point. I would call that a clip point blade. Obviously, it's got a very pronounced recurve, hollow grind, top swedge. It's not quite a compound grind, but it's a very tricky grind for sure. The finish on it is basically just a belt finish satin. There's Jason's maker's mark. The other side is sterile, and then the serial number on the back. So 155 out of 250, that means 250 pieces are made like this one, and then they'll do another 250 of the stone wash, and then the acid with the different colors. He releases all of his knives in a variety of colors and finishes to suit the tastes of the person buying the knife. Handle length is 4 1/8. It is a titanium construction. You can see standoff flow through construction. Frame lock with a steel lock bar insert. This does run on Jason's proprietary caged bearing system for pretty smooth deployment. Not the smoothest as far as closing goes, but not terrible. It does have a 3D machined titanium pocket clip, as you can see there. Very strong tension on the pocket clip. Not the easiest in and out of the pockets, and that little sharp ball can wreak havoc on jeans. Just a little note. So let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts on the knife. I don't get it. It looks like a knife that was designed by someone who doesn't know anything about pocket knives. The hard angles, the weird blade shape, just very odd choice for someone like Jason who's been making knives for so long. It was almost like if you were to design a knife for somebody that wanted a knife that looked cool, but wouldn't actually be able to do much functionally, I think this would be the knife that you would design. So instead of well, okay, so point by point, the blade, not very functionally useful for EDC tasks. You do have a very fine tip for any kind of piercing work that you need to do. You also have this area right here, which is decent for slicing tasks like opening boxes. But this giant recurve area, I couldn't really find a use for it at all. Yeah, this almost looks like a knife that was designed for self-defense, but it's tiny. This knife is really small. The handle length is measured from the very tip here to the very tip down there, but you can't use all of it. You can only use this much, and my hand is almost slipping off the back here because he had made such a pronounced, not to mention when you're opening the knife, that sharp point digs into your palm and makes it fairly uncomfortable to use. Yeah, you can feel it digging into your palm when you flip the knife open. I do like, there are some nice touches, like that line that runs through the middle, goes through the pocket clip. That is pretty cool. But yeah, this isn't comfortable in the hand. It's not very EDC friendly when it comes to the blade being useful. I'm sure it would be a fucking nightmare to actually sharpen this thing. Although D2 is pretty good at holding a working edge, but once that goes dull, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the one to sharpen this, that's for sure. The jimping on the spine here, not very functional at all. I'd say that's more aesthetic than anything else. Yeah, I think that maybe this one shouldn't have gotten off the drawing table. Or maybe it was supposed to be a bigger knife, like a self-defense style knife, which, I mean, I get it, there's a market for those. Personally, I don't agree with the philosophy of carrying a knife for self-defense, but that doesn't mean I'm right, and that doesn't mean that there aren't people that do like to carry them for that purpose. So, you know, if you were going to make the knife for that, why would you make it such a tiny size? Not to mention, because of the tiny size, all the sharp corners are more pronounced. They're more likely to give you discomfort when you're using it. The flipper tab being so far down means that a ton of the knife handle isn't usable. There's no finger groove whatsoever. Like, there is this nice divot back here, but yeah, that doesn't, this is not a secure grip at all. Which is not a huge deal for me, since I mostly pinch grip knives, like I've said in other videos. But yeah, it's just, there's also no cutout for the lock bar, and it can be kind of uncomfortable to get your finger in there. Yeah, this was definitely a knife that I've owned a knife made by Jason Brous, or at least designed by Jason Brous before. I think it was the Bionic 2.0. That actually, it was a pretty damn nice EDC knife. This one, it's not. I don't know whatever purpose he had in mind that this knife would fill. I don't think it ever should have gotten off the drawing table, unfortunately. There are some good aspects. It does flip out nice, you know, decent flipping action. Very lightweight, 2.3 ounces. Obviously some work went into this thing as far as, you know, finishing and stuff like that. But so this is $240 from just about every knife vendor you can find, and that's the cheapest version. They go all the way up to around $300. And you're getting D2 tool steel, which there are definitely way better steels out there, and titanium, and that's about it. So unfortunately on this one, I'm gonna have to say definitely stay away, unless you are just absolutely crazy and love the way it looks. I don't mean you're crazy, I mean you're crazy about how it looks. I would say stay away from this one. Not a really useful knife, not particularly fun to play with because of the discomfort from the sharp edges there flipping. Yeah, unfortunately, Jason, this one was a swing and a miss. I'm definitely going to be returning this knife, and I would suggest that you probably stay away from it. Alright guys, that's it for this one. I have plenty more videos coming up, so stay tuned. Alright, take it easy.